Sawadee ka. Thank you, Sumi, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everybody. How is everyone feeling? I know it's been a while. Everybody's been sitting down, but how incredible is this summit? Thank you so much for inviting the Dragonfly team here today. It's wonderful to be able to share this space with so many incredible leaders, colleagues, partners, new friends in the hospitality, tourism, wellness industries. And it's rare that we get to really connect on a deeper level, much more meaningful, and hopefully collaborate. So thank you again for having me here. Um, oh, I thought this was supposed to be my first slide. I want to start my talk with something that we don't share enough, and that is leadership is exhausting, and it's sometimes very, very lonely. Anybody here who resonates or feels that they are in a leadership role can probably relate to this. We're in a time of constant acceleration. Disruption is the norm, demands are relentless, expectations are sky high. Leaders are not expected to just perform, but you better perform perfectly. Our society glorifies hustle. We worship productivity. We measure a leader's worth by his or her output. But what if there were more subtle yet just as valuable outcomes of leadership that don't fit so neatly into a KPI dashboard? What about the ability to inspire trust, to nurture potential, to hold space for others to thrive? What about the ability to create a space in your team and organization where everyone feels safe, seen, and energized to do their best work? You know, we've been working and operating on this really outdated model of leadership where the boss or the leader is supposed to be the one who have all the answers, right? The ones who know it all, the fixers, the decision makers. But that's not just outdated, it's really unrealistic and it's unsustainable. What if embracing vulnerability, prioritizing well being weren't just considered weaknesses, but strategic advantages? What if leading well starts by living well? Um, I want to invite everyone to perhaps reinvent your idea of leadership today, not as a role to perform or a metric to achieve, but as a state of being to cultivate. Not as a something that we do for others, but something that we grow from within. Allow me to share a little bit of my personal story. I have been, for the last 30 years, I've had a career in entertainment, in the spotlight as a model, a host, an actress. I've gone on to become a vocal advocate for the rights of women and girls. I am now an entrepreneur. And there was a time in my life where I was doing a lot. I had just finished 4 seasons of Asia's Next Top Model, a very popular reality show in Asia. I was doing all the runways, shooting covers. I had 2 series happening. I had just launched a region wide movement called Don't Tell Me How to Dress against sexual assault, and I was the newly appointed UN Women Goodwill Ambassador to Asia and the Pacific. I was writing a children's book. I was just about to launch a new product. I looked like I was killing it. But on the inside, I was running on empty. I was struggling so hard to live up to everybody's expectations that I was going to push through no matter what, even though I was on the brink of exhaustion. I wasn't eating properly. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't taking care of myself. My relationships were strained. I was yelling at the kids, my kids, for the smallest things. I was snapping at my husband out of frustration. And then one day in a supermarket, I had a full blown panic attack. I didn't know what was happening to me. I've never had a panic attack before. All I remember was clutching onto the supermarket cart and just trying to catch a breath. It's very scary. And I realized right then and there, I was like, okay, this has got to change. This is not good. I needed to do something different. I needed to first stop glorifying hustle and using it as a badge of honor, like, look at me, look at all this stuff I'm doing for other people's validation and approval, and start honoring balance. I needed to redefine my idea of success, not as impact out there, which is important, but also alignment in here, which is pretty much the foundation of everything that I do. And so I realized I cannot live well if I don't start taking care of myself, and I certainly cannot lead well if I'm disconnected, distracted, diseased. And so I started doing, prioritizing self-care. I went back to yoga. I started meditation, which is still a work in progress, but I'm committed. um, I listened to podcasts. I read books. I started to understand the importance of slowing down, of sitting quietly with myself, of spending really quality, being present with the kids. So anybody who's got kids, you know that it's a decision and it's a commitment to really be in that present moment, not just checking your phone. Practicing gratitude daily. And it was the end of 2019. Little did I know that all these little self care tips would become my lifeline in the next couple months when the entire world plunged into a global pandemic and life as we knew it came to a screeching halt, where everybody was forced to abandon deliverables and deadlines and really focus on the one thing we needed the most, and that was to sustain ourselves through an incredibly scary and uncertain time. And so that really cemented all of the things I had already put into process, right? And I realized well-being is not personal, it's collective. And when we are well, we can then become anchors for others. And so as the world started to rebuild and recover out of the pandemic, you could feel the change in the air. It was palpable. Everybody was really now, okay, physical health, not just physical, mental health, emotional, even spiritual. And that kind became the foundation for what would be Dragonfly 360. It wasn't born of a strategy, it was born of a necessity and this deep rooted belief that the future of leadership is founded on or based on physical well being, mental clarity, emotional intelligence and stability, and yes, even spiritual alignment. And we wanted to really create this space or a place where leaders could come to explore all of that. And it was the beginning of Lead Well, where we don't separate leadership from wellness, we integrate them. So let me just put this into some simple but powerful ideas. So basically, Dr. Matthew Walker, one of our speakers coming this year, world's leading neuroscientist and the author of Why We Sleep, he says sleep is the greatest legal performance enhancing drug most people are probably neglecting. I mean, we all hear about it, we know it. His research shows that leaders who get consistently less than 6 hours of sleep impair their cognitive function, their ability to regulate emotion, and ability to innovate. And so maybe start asking ourselves, are we prioritizing recovery as much as we're prioritizing results? Another speaker coming this year, Nick Santonastaso, incredible, globally renowned mindset expert, born with a condition that left him with no legs and only one arm. And he says the only limitations are the ones that we put on ourselves. You should see this guy. He became a pro wrestler when he was in his teenagers. And so he challenges us to then rethink about all these things that are putting limits on us, and that the most powerful thing a leader can do is rewrite your inner story. And so I'd like to ask you today, before you leave, is that one thing that you can do? Just start checking in with yourself every day. How am I leading? Because leadership's not just in the boardroom, right? Like as Sabina said, it's not just reserved for founders and CEOs. Leadership lives in everyday moments. It's the energy you put out into the world. It's how you speak to somebody. It's how you hold space for someone in a meeting. It's how you respond to a friend. It's how you sit at the dinner table with your family after a long day at work. And most importantly, it's how you show up for yourself. And so if this resonates with you, I'd love to invite you all to our summit this year in Bangkok in September, where we are going to be creating a space. We're bringing together global leaders, visionary thinkers, experiences where you nurture the whole leader, body, mind, soul, and community through bold ideas, honest conversations, immersive wellness practices, where you can come to realign, reconnect with your team, with yourself, with the community, and really take the future of leadership forward. And it's not what we're building, it's how we're building. Please stop by our booth. Please talk to Sabina, myself, and get any questions. We have a special code for everyone here today. Please join us as we explore how to live well in order to lead well. Thank you.